Welcome to Straight Shot Politics. Each episode will bring you in-depth discussion with experts, community leaders, and analysts who will share their insights, experiences, and predictions. From local elections to global diplomacy, we'll provide you with the tools and perspectives you'll need to navigate today's real-world landscape. The views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, producers, or this podcast. This podcast is an independent production and is not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by any organization unless explicitly stated.
Welcome to Straight Shot Politics. I'm Lisa Chafee.
I'm Josh Cease.
And I'm Michael Nash.
Josh, glad to have you back. We missed you last week.
I know, but that was a wonderful, and I tagged, I was tagged and I pushed out on social media your interview with Colleen O'Donnell, and
it was great.
It was really well done, and just out of full disclosure, I actually voted for Andrew King, but I have no doubt Colleen, after listening to that, it was just a matter of personal preference. She will represent the bench with honor and integrity, and I am so happy for her, and God bless her, and she deserves, to go there and really represent the people and make sure that the Constitution in Ohio. People think, when you say the Constitution, right? People think of the U.S. Constitution. We have a Constitution here in the state of Ohio, which we know what happened with the abortion amendment.
Oh yeah,
and
it's
all
been
that.
changed over 170 times, amended.
So but I think she's going to do a fabulous job upholding the Constitution and making sure that common sense principles are applied at the bench.
Yes.
Because there are too many damn judges, especially in Franklin County, that don't hold anybody accountable.
Exactly.
And they try to legislate from the bench.
Damn right they do.
Yeah. That's...
Okay, well, one of the topics, we'll just go ahead and,
Sure.
You would mention, these teen takeovers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, a lot of these, there's a trend going on nationwide. It's happened here in Ohio, where you get mobs of teenagers either going in, robbing gas stations, or going into fast food restaurants or food courts at, wherever, food halls, and getting into fights and causing chaos and stealing. And they face no punishment, Mike.
Yeah.
They face no consequences because they're not getting any consequences from home, obviously.
No, they're not. They face no consequences until they get shot.
Right, until they're in a morgue or...
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So they try some of that shit with... Can I say shit on the air?
Yes,
I guess
you can.
I can. Okay.
We ain't on FCC rules. This is our rules.
They try some of that shit with somebody in the room that is not going to put up with that, and somebody's not going to put up with that. That's just point blank.
And then it's going to be, he was a good boy. He was going to go to the community college.
Right.
He was going to, and then they show a picture of him in fourth grade as like this little 10-year-old.
Oh, look at this. It's so cute. Yeah.
I'm so sick of that bullshit.
Yeah, that's gone.
So recently, the three most recent areas where these have happened is Chicago, where one teenager rammed a police cruiser, as others filmed it.
Stupid.
Tampa, Florida, they did arrest 22 people, ages 12 to 21.
Florida doesn't play around. Governor DeSantis is a badass.
And Washington, D.C., at the Navy Yard, this has happened. And here's what I like. So Judge Jeanine Shapiro, formerly on Fox News.
She's U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia.
Yes, she is. And she has point blank said they are going to start prosecuting the parents of these children.
As they should.
Yep.
About damn time somebody does that.
She's going to charge them with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which is up to 6 months in jail.
Yep.
Go for it.
Now, I can already hear it. Well, how are they going to raise their kids if they're in jail? How are they going to work? What's going to happen to kids? How are they going to pay their rent?
Wow, that's a good impression.
No, they will. They'll claim that, because how can they? It's not their fault because they're a victim of a capitalist society that has oppressed them and systemic racism and
TDS.
go all down the line. They'll use that as they're the victims.
It's just
Their
like,
kids are hurting people, but they're the victim.
It's just like the use of restorative justice in our schools. Complete and utter disaster.
For those who don't know, explain restorative justice.
Restorative justice basically means so your kid gets in trouble in the classroom for whatever reason. Let's say they're bullying. Okay. So they'll bring the two parties together, the victim and the assailant together, and try to help them work it out. Go through some sort of classroom exercise, like in school suspension, rehabilitation. Okay. But they still don't have any real consequences to their actions. It does absolutely no good. If you don't have, I'm all about the rehabilitation, and they need to understand why what they did is wrong, whether it's bullying or hitting somebody or stealing something. They need to understand that. They need to understand the damage that they caused to their victim. But to let them off scot-free without some kind of punishment, that's just a slap on the wrist.
Well, it's the equivalent, in the schools. I mean, it's the same as like being at home. It's the equivalent of a parent that doesn't ever say no.
It's exactly what it is.
Doesn't ever take your electronic device away. Doesn't ever ground you. Doesn't ever enforce any rules or curfew.
There's an acronym for that. It's GFF.
GFF?
Grooming future felons.
I like that. Grooming future felons.
Yeah.
Well, and what's infuriating to me is, and it's mostly people on the left pushing this agenda, it is so freaking condescending to the minorities for them to say, oh, well, they come from a low income. They're black. They already have all these things stacked against them. And that may very well be true. But you know what? Actions have consequences. Don't give me this bullshit that just because they come from a bad neighborhood or one or both of their single parent home, or one of them is an alcoholic, or one of them is in prison.
I have relatives that were part of that culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were not black, and they went out and did what they needed to do and all that kind of stuff. They went out and caused all those problems and went and got in legal troubles and needed bailed out and all that kind of stuff. It's the parents not taking the affirmative swap on the ass.
We touched on this. What was it? I don't know how many episodes ago we did, that we did a culture episode about the lack. What's going on culture wise.
It was the last time we ran with no script. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. The last time we did something like we're doing.
We talked about life in the 80s.
Right.
Life was better when I had perm.
We all, it doesn't matter how much money your parents have in the bank or don't. You make your choices. And Ben
100%.
Carson Dr. Ben Carson is the epitome of the phrase, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. Raised in a very poor neighborhood. He's black, for those who don't know who Dr. Ben Carson is. And he managed to put himself through medical school and became the top pediatric neurosurgeon in the country.
I remember he did some amazing things. He's separated conjoined twins in the brain that they didn't know how that was going to work. Because they're basically sharing this, one big cavity, and he was just a brilliant genius on that.
Yeah, so I mean, there are obstacles, and I don't think our country is riddled with racism as what the left is trying to play. It's more economic discrimination, and yes, those people who are middle and lower class do have a more difficult time. It's harder to get.
Sure.
My parents, they couldn't afford to put me through college. I ended up putting myself through college, and I'm still paying on the student loans. It just all depends on what your mindset is and what you're willing to do.
Yeah.
To work for what you want.
No doubt. I mean, it is a matter of culture. It's a matter of discipline, and what we're seeing, I don't know. To me, it feels like there's just a general sickness right now in our society. People are pissed off, and people are angry, and people are more willing to confront and hurt other people now. And I hate to rehash this because people are like, just move on. COVID, the scamdemic changed everything.
It did.
There's no going back. The Overton window was thrown wide open on that one, okay? Mm-hmm. We're never going back to that world. Just like I remember in 2001, there is no more. I remember a world before 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That world is dead, gone. Mm-hmm. And then we spend 20 years living in a new world, and just when things are kind of, and then boom, COVID hits. I mean, 9/11 and the scamdemic are the two biggest defining cultural events of my lifetime. It is the thing, for people who are older listening, when JFK was killed, and I go back to this, I still think JFK might have been our last actual genuine real president. But that's a whole other podcast. Those moments are so defining. Mm-hmm. And everything changed. It's like society changed. The event pulled society in a different direction, or the powers that be pulled society in a different direction. I will never forgive George W. Bush for the Patriot Act. I think that it's the Unpatriot Act. It allowed... I think you look at the amount of government spying on our own citizens and data collecting and
wow, going in there, Josh.
What's
wow, man. Okay, so
let's not go down the rabbit hole on that one.
All right.
I'm just saying like that changed everything. You can't go to the airport. Going to the airport's never going to be never the same after that.
The guy light his shoes on fire and.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a bomb and
underwear.
So and it's like after COVID, people were told don't go outside, and it's like they got antisocial. They forgot how to interact with people.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I remember during COVID, I refused to wear the mask for
Same
two
here.
reasons. One is I'm actually claustrophobic, but the other is the common sense stuff.
Right.
I do accept the fact that COVID existed. It transmitted easily, but most people had it and they survived, but I remember walking, it was within the first, I think it was about the third or the fourth week, and I had to go into the gas station. I walk in the Speedway, I didn't have my mask on, and there was about 10, 15 people standing there in line, and this one big guy, he had to have been about 350 pounds, 6'3" and he looked at the cashier and pointed at me, "Why is she in here without a mask?" And I just looked at him. I said, "Why don't you mind your own effing business?"
Nice. Yeah. I like that.
And I walked, and I didn't say it that nicely either. People have gotten too concerned with other people's business.
So nobody besides me wore like the black masks and walked around going,
no.
They didn't do that?
That was just you, Mike.
Okay.
It's just this constant. We've turned into a bunch of helicopter parents.
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. So today I was watching an interview John Stossel did with James Lindsay. You know who he is, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was working while I was listening to it, but he's just talking about the woke left, and all of a sudden he started talking about the woke right, and that jarred me. I'm like, what do you mean woke right? And it is literally, and he described it, it is a mirror image of what left-wing wokeness is based on victimhood-based identity politics. The victim groups being white people, Christians, men, or straight people. The willingness to use collective power, online mobbing, and ideological purity tests. And it's happening. And we're seeing it. And James, he talked about an incident where he was at, I forget, it was one of these far-right groups. I can't remember the name of it, but one of their members walked up to him and said, "We will either convert you or we will kill you."
Oh, that's like right Tifa.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who is this group? I've never heard of anything like this before.
Well, it's the white nationalists, like along the lines of Nick Fuentes. So we have a pendulum in this country, right?
What, a bunch of hillbillies running around in white robes?
No, it's more of the.
It's like that Westboro Baptist group.
the white supremacist groups, Westboro Baptist group, those kind of groups. That they're going. The pendulum is now going too far to the right, and they are using the same techniques. He said they are very refined. What they're doing on Twitter, people who are now afraid to interview James Lindsay because if they do, they are just mobbed online and attacked. And you know what? I'll find the link to that video so we can put it in the link for this to people. It's very disconcerting, but it's. This is why I say I'm a moderate.
Right Tifa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm Googling it now.
I just feel like their overall influence on things, I think, is minuscule compared to the machine that the left has in terms of.
It's still flying under the radar. Most of us aren't going to pay attention to it because we're still focused on what the idiots on the left are doing.
Right.
And they're still screaming and yelling.
There's validity. There's some validity to what you just said. Yeah.
Who are better funded?
Yeah. So Christian nationalists.
Yeah,
as
but
part of
see,
that.
Christian nationalist gets thrown around. I don't even know what that term means. They had a gathering at the mall over the weekend. It was a beautiful prayer group. It was a bunch of Christians coming together to pray and worship and celebrate on the National Mall and call for peace and love and
Did they bring paintbrushes?
and they painted it as a far right Christian nationalist neo-Nazi rally. That's what all the left portrayed it as. I've been all over the I don't know if you know what Threads is. It's a new social media.
Yeah.
I'm all over Threads, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. They all labeled it as a far-right Christian nationalist neo-Nazi rally. Now, when the left is using that, everybody what right of what? Who? Like right of Lindsey Graham is a Christian nationalist? Like, come on. That's ridiculous.
They're going from. I'll have to find it more in the video, and I'm typing stuff in. I'm trying to find the names, and it's not.
Those are the National Mall.
It was at the National Mall.
Now, imagine if they would have brought paintbrushes to actually paint, then the project could have been done by now.
What project?
What? Oh,
The reflection pool.
the one that Trump's redoing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's done, isn't it?
I haven't seen it done yet. Is it?
I don't know. Maybe he just painted it blue.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I thought I saw at some point they were painting a flag in the bottom, so they're reflecting.
Yes, they are doing that. Yes.
The flag. Okay.
But we do need to, and I've seen this with my son who's about to turn 20, his age group of young men, seeing posts and stuff. So for so many years now, his age group plus white straight men have become the predators. They're not the predators, what I'm saying. They've been victimized. They've been blamed for everything by the left.
Well, isn't that what James Lindsay says constitutes woke right?
No. They're taking it even further. They're going down that rabbit hole of anti-Semitism, anti anybody that is anti-white, anti-straight. It's the left, but on the right. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, essentially, it's a reaction. It's the reaction of being called racist.
Anti-white is
one
the
too many times.
Standard policy of the left right now.
Is.
The standard policy of the Democrat Party. What's wrong with pushing back on it?
Well, I get that. I get that too. But I think it's a reaction. This is
but
a
not
reaction.
to the extreme of threatening to kill somebody because they're not.
Oh God! No, that person's a lunatic.
Exactly.
I mean, insane.
There are just as many nut jobs on the far right as there are on the far left. But we have to be mindful of this. I mean, we can't. We don't want the pendulum to swing. We need it to stay in the middle. We don't need it to go all the way to the left. We don't need it to go all the way to the right.
I'm probably more right. I know I'm more right probably than you, Lisa, and that's fine. But we share so many common things. Yeah. It's fine. It's just difference. But I don't know. Like for me, I just don't see that as a problem. The way. If people who wore MAGA hats or, carrying American flag were attacked in the streets by these thug lunatics on the left, these degenerate swine who were coming after them. And basically, if you supported America, physical violence has been happening. The only thing I can even recall right now that was a big time event was Charlottesville, and that was pushing 9 years, 10 years ago.
By the
And that
Southern
was
Poverty
already
Law Center.
staged.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like I just don't see that as much as a problem as. But then again, maybe I'm not. Maybe you're more in tune to certain things, and it could be turn out to be right. I just don't see it as a problem.
This is the first time I've heard about this.
Okay.
So it's worth a conversation. And,
absolutely.
And I'm going to work diligently to see if we can't get James Lindsay on here.
I think that would be a fantastic interview.
Yeah.
It would be wonderful.
All right. So one more topic that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So today is Monday, May 18th.
As of when we're recording
as
this.
we're recording,
that's recording,
yeah, the
yes.
18th. So a week from today is Memorial Day.
That's absolutely right.
And I always get...
Or if you're listening to this in just like a day or two.
Yeah, exactly. So
if today is Saturday, then
yes,
I got to thinking about it, because growing up, I remember around Memorial Day and Veterans Day, all the TV channels, of course, growing up, we only had 3, war movies about primarily World War II and the importance of them. And my father served in the military. He was a Marine. My grandfather was in the Army. And it got me thinking, people have turned it into this mass Memorial Day sales.
Oh, that makes me want to
parades.
flip. I won't say the F word. I almost did.
Yeah.
But that makes me want to flip and vomit.
right.
So I did a little research, and I found out that the very first Memorial Day took place on May 30th, 1868.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that was something put into motion that Lincoln wanted to do, and then actually it did happen under the Johnson administration.
Actually, 1873, New York became the first state to officially recognize it.
Okay.
And by 1890, all of the Union states had recognized it.
Wonderful.
And in 1971, it was officially named Memorial Day by Congress.
Okay.
So, but the purpose of Memorial Day is to remember our fallen soldiers.
Memorial,
Exactly.
memory.
Don't, please, whatever you do, when you see a veteran, don't say Happy Memorial Day.
You shouldn't say that to anybody. You're right, though, but especially a veteran. They have their day.
They do.
Veterans,
That's Veterans Day.
Those are for our living men and women in uniform
Yes.
and those who had previously served.
Yes.
That is Happy Veterans Day is okay in my book. Happy Memorial, there's nothing happy about that. When you consider how many, what was it? What did you tell me? 1.3 million
And all of
lives?
our wars combined here in the United States, 1.3 million soldiers have died. Now, a lot of them did not actually die in combat. They died from diseases, infections, and that sort of thing.
Still, they wouldn't have
roles.
they wouldn't have got those diseases had they not been out
Exactly.
in a battle situation,
Exactly.
in a conflict situation,
Right.
defending our freedom, defending the Constitution.
Yes, but if you break it down, by war, the Civil War had the most deaths with over 600,000. Union and Confederate combined.
Right.
And then I think it was World War II. And then it's gone down since then.
I don't, putting a number to it is, to me, it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like, I know they have to keep the numbers, but it's not about the numbers. I don't care. One is
too many.
One is too many.
One's too many, but,
Yeah.
Going back, my era was the Gulf War era.
Uh-huh.
And we lost in the hundreds, not just thousands or hundreds. I can't talk today. Hundreds of thousands. We lost in the hundreds. And I think the most deadly attack was when there was a couple of barracks bombed, as we lost that many people. Now, in the war against the GWAT, war against terror, they've lost more than that. They lost in the thousands, but still is now compared to before, there's the way the conventions of war and technology and things like that, we're not taking as many mass casualties as we could have. Plus, we're not really facing that significant of adversaries. It's like when I was still in the 90s, they were prepping us to go to Korea, right? And that would have been if they actually followed through with that, when they actually did that, that would have been a significant loss. If you ever go up against a superpower like China, or ever go up against the USSR or Russia, those would be significant losses. But no other really adversary can produce or help to produce that many casualties.
Oh, and let's face it, we're in the era of video game wars. It's a bunch of guys sitting back at a command center taking drones and flying them up some terrorist ass.
Pretty much.
That's basically what it is now.
Well, back in my day, they had a sand table.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Walked to command center one time, and there was this big, huge box, big sandbox on stilts, like a big sand table.
Yeah.
And then they had like grids gridded out, and they had little vehicles on it, and they actually did exercises to get a 1,000-foot view. They had a sand table, and they actually did.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Risk. It looked like Risk, basically, in a sandbox.
I mean, if you and I always go back to General Washington, and if you read about the winter at Valley Forge, it changed my life when I read that book, and to know what those boys went through, and I do say boys because they were 15,
boys,
16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Right.
And the sacrifices they were made because they believed in this concept. There was no America was just this vague. It was a concept. There wasn't a tangible thing. They were fighting a philosophical battle for that we have the right to govern ourselves.
Right.
And the fact that they were willing to starve to death, some of these guys, to eat, they're grinding up the horse hooves and making soup out of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that they cared that much. That's why you need to take time this weekend or Monday. And if you have somebody that was a family, or you want to go with a friend to see their family who has somebody who served, who died in battle.
Yeah.
That's important. I have never been to Arlington National Cemetery, but it looks freaking overwhelming. Like I think I would start crying if I saw it, if I was there in that, because I bet there's a very kind of like spiritualish, or just there's some, I bet I can imagine a presence there, just some feeling.
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but it wasn't. I mean, most of them didn't die there. So
no, I know, but they were buried. No, I understand
Right.
they were buried there. But you look at that, just telling you how many people over the years
and the immense size.
Yes,
What hit me hard most was going to France.
Oh, Normandy and Omaha,
Normandy Beach. Yeah, the American cemetery there. That was ominous. That.
I mean, there are ghosts probably there. I mean, see, I don't want. Maybe we should do a supernatural episode once, because I'll go down rabbit holes with ghosts and Bigfoot and all that.
Well,
but I'm saying that you're right. I think there would have been like a residual energy there from all the death, like a loop stuck in time kind of a feeling.
What actually standing on Normandy Beach, what made it worse, because I'm a veteran, so, and I have an idea. I have an idea about tactics and things like that. Standing on the beach and looking up and seeing the shape of the land was just a smooth, gradual slope up, and then looking to my right and seeing pillboxes still there of the flank field of fire from the flank.
What do you mean by pillboxes?
Pillbox is a small little like den built into the side of a hill that's used as a pit, basically, fire pit.
Okay.
Or like
give you cover while you're firing.
Okay.
Right. Foxhole, basically. A foxhole is built into the side of a hill, but it's built in concrete. So it's tough.
Yeah, and those pillboxes. That's when the few Americans that would get made it up there. You throw a grenade in there, boom! Those Germans those Nazi bastards are dead.
Pretty much. But the coverage is, you look at it, the coverage is so immense.
It's remarkable how it was pulled off. And then I don't know if you saw. I'm not a big Tom Hanks guy, just because his politics, and I think he's kind of a dick, to be honest. I know everyone's like, but Tom Hanks, I love Tom Hanks. Nah, there's something off about him. But I will say, I'm looking forward to. They are doing to celebrate America 250 on the History Channel. Imagine this: the History Channel is going to do actual history instead of ancient aliens and two guys looking for the treasure on Oak Island that they'll never find.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to do an in-depth. He's narrating an in-depth World War II special.
Oh, good.
And I recommend anybody who, if you happen to come across it, set your whatever device you use to record, set that up. But World War II, I think, is still it still captures the imagination. I think of us. I think it's just because there's so many people living who had somebody who served in that war, which is why when we think kind of Memorial Day, I think that image of, like Mike said, Normandy Beach and Omaha, and
I think if you're really interested in the World War II and learning what really happened, some of the best movies to watch, the Band of Brothers series. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's a long series, but
that's a phenomenal series.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if you like New Kids on the Block, Donnie Wahlberg stars in it.
Your 80s are bleeding back into
I
you.
know. Dunkirk.
I have not seen Dunkirk yet.
We saw it in the movie theater, and I couldn't. I walked out of there in tears just watching that. And then Flags of Our Fathers.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen the movie. I made it halfway through the book, and it literally, because a lot of it talks about the soldiers in Japan and what they went through. And they were, you talk about fighting for your country. They were doing the same thing. Now, granted, they were our enemy then, but they had women travel with the soldiers.
Yep.
And when they ran out of food, they cannibalized the women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
much.
But these men, they loved their country so much that's what they were willing to fight for.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this generation, well, my son's generation, we don't have that love anymore. I think that phrase that the World War II was the greatest generation of our time.
Oh, that's without doubt, in my opinion.
Aside from what they went through, if we hadn't have joined that war, we'd be speaking German most likely.
Oh, no
Pretty
doubt.
much.
No
But
doubt.
the inventions, the mother of invention is
Mother of
necessity.
all invention.
Yeah, is necessity, and the medical stuff that came out of World War II, triage,
Yes.
that was invented Pearl Harbor.
You guys want to hear my favorite Okinawa story?
Yes.
I mean, I have several Okinawa stories, but the
Keep
one I
it
can
clean,
share
please.
here. Okay. The one I can share here is what
was her name?
Not going to go. That's the other. That's once we finish recording, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But the my favorite Okinawa story that relates to this particular subject matter is I served in Okinawa back in the early 90s, and back then I was on a particular job type. It was a different kind of assignment, but it was in Okinawa. I have a regular job, then I had in the battalion I have a different job. And my battalion job back then was to take care of the hazmat site. So I was like basically OSHA, the government version of OSHA, right? So going around and making sure that everybody's doing their job, make sure everybody wears hard hats, make sure everybody has safety glasses, all that kind of stuff. Well, they had Japanese contractors come in and do work for us, right? And they seemed like decent guys, right? One time I asked this Japanese contractor, I said, hey, what happened to your fingers? Because he was missing a couple fingers. He's like, I lost them in the war. I'm like, oh, okay. What war? He's like, the war. I'm like, think back. You mean like Vietnam? He's like, I'm not that young. No, the war, boy. That's what he's trying to say. Oh, that war. Talked to him for 5 minutes. He was a Japanese veteran.
Oh.
From World War II, working for the Americans on Okinawa.
Yeah, that you talk about a lot of people, the filthy communists did a lot of heavy lifting in the East. Okay. I mean, let's be honest, if there was no Eastern Front, history definitely was going to be different. I'll just leave it at that. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
But the fighting in the Pacific was probably the deadliest, the most brutal, because you got the heat. You're fighting in a jungle on these islands, and you got an enemy that literally has sworn to fight to the death and are absolutely rabid to the core about defending the emperor and the empire. And but if you talk to anybody who was at, like, say, Midway or Iwo Jima, they would tell you, I've seen that in a weird way, you develop a level of respect for your enemy that you don't have for anybody else.
Right.
That almost as if the war were to come to an end, would you just put your weapons down and walk across the beach and shake each other's hand? Like that kind of thing, that feeling. And to me, that is that tells me that, you know, those veterans and those who didn't make it out of there, man, I must have been hell on earth. And that's why Memorial Day is so important. And by the way, the Civil War. I love this. I love reading about the history of the Civil War. The Civil War was maybe the most barbaric thing that America has ever been involved in. It probably is.
Yeah.
But you think about everything that's been done since the Revolution till now, and it's why we fight so hard. It's why we do this podcast. It's why we care. It's why we're involved in politics on a local and state level, Lisa. You know, all of us.
Yeah.
This is what because we care, because we love you. We, the three of us sitting here right now, we share that collective philosophy of love of the concept of America, the same as those guys at Valley Forge. It's inside of us. It's just that we live in such a commercialized, watered down, protected
bubble
culture. Yes. No true appreciation for everything that went on. 15, you had skinny ass 150-pound guys carrying 50 calibers up the Italian mountains by themselves.
Yeah.
Now we don't even know what freaking bathroom to use.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying this Memorial Day, just please, whatever you do, think about it. Honor this country. Please fly a flag. If you have a flag, please put your American flag out at least on Monday. I'm going to have mine out all weekend, and I'm going to display it proudly. And I already went and talked to the people. And like, I don't care. You can threaten to kick me out.
Are you in an HOA?
I'm in a condo association. Yeah. So it's like I'm flying this weekend. I go, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nobody's going to really say anything to you.
They really didn't, but I wanted to make it clear.
Well, and there's some things going on Memorial Day.
Yes, tell us about
it. National Veterans Memorial Museum, which is West Broad Street.
Yes.
At 10 a.m., there is a remembrance ceremony. There's various parades. I know there's a parade in Grove City. Green Lawn Cemetery, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Not surprised about Green Lawn.
Bexley, they will be having a Memorial Day service at the Drexel Circle, Blendon Township. And you can find all this. I'm looking at the NBC4 website. So you can just Google Veterans Day, Memorial Day events, and just take a moment, to appreciate the fact that we can even sit here and have this podcast because of what.
Well said.
Yeah.
What
Freedom
you can
of
have
speech.
if we have our First Amendment, our Constitution is one of the most beautiful documents ever written.
Yes.
And the sad thing is, these kids nowadays, they can't even read cursive writing to read it.
No,
So
they can't. And I think that's almost by design. They don't want you to read the Constitution one day because I still write. I make my kids. I think my son knows how to write in cursive. He's in 6th grade. I think he knows a little bit.
Well, mine can sign his name in cursive, and that's about it.
But like when I'm writing in general, I write in cursive. I was how I was taught.
Yeah. But my point is, you look at what's happening in England right now.
Yes.
You alluded to this earlier off about the protests they just
Hundreds
had.
of
Tell us
thousands.
about that.
Yes, hundreds of thousands. Was called Unite the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about taking the United Kingdom back from third world invaders. And that's what they are, third world invaders. And I don't want to hear, somebody said on my Facebook post, like, oh, that's, you're kind of racist what you said. No, it's not.
No.
It's true. And it's like I said, my grandmother, Ipswich, England, didn't survive the goddamn Nazi Luftwaffe blitzkrieg, only to see her homeland and my family's homeland overrun by people who have no concept of the civilization that they're in. They just want to be given stuff. They want to take advantage of it. There are, and don't let them lie to you, I have my grandmother's cousins still live in England. There are absolutely districts in London that are so Muslim you do not go into if you are Caucasian. That's a fact. And the fact that they tiptoe around the country, like they've just given the UK away. They'll arrest you if you go on social media and say anything bad about Islam or the invaders.
They arrest people for standing outside of an abortion center and silently praying to themselves.
Can't pray in public. You have a license for that prayer.
It's just
Got no license.
Yeah, it's insane. So that's what they want. The left wants to happen here. They want to control our speech, take away what we can say. Words are weapons. No, I'm sorry, they are not.
As we reflect over Memorial Day weekend, everything that all 1.3 million of those men and women who gave their lives in defense of our country, everything that they died for gives us the right to express our opinions without fear of reprisal from the government.
Exactly.
I understand First Amendment free speech comes with consequences. Your employer can fire you. Go yell a racial slur on the corner, somebody might come up and punch you. Okay,
Exactly.
but you're not going to be arrested for expressing yourself. And that's the dystopian nightmare that we are fighting against right now. That, shut this podcast down, shut, all the other podcasters down.
But it goes beyond that because it's not just that side of things. It's the general public. I know of people who have simply been in a restaurant wearing a MAGA hat and have been attacked.
Oh, sure.
Physically attacked, kicked out of the restaurant. I'm very careful now when I travel. I'm flying this weekend. I will not wear anything that says MAGA on it or anything that says Trump on it because I just don't want to take the risk of someone trying to show their ass and put me in my place because it won't work. I just don't want that headache. I'm not going to back away, but
I'm personally afraid of going to jail.
that too.
Because those of us who celebrate constitutional carry in Ohio.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yep.
I was just getting ready to say that. Those of us who celebrate
I don't
constitutional
go to
carry.
jail.
I really this is a situation where I could end up, at the very least, it's gonna be one hell of a trial.
Right.
That'll be on all the local news channels.
Right.
But so the point is, don't say Happy Memorial Day.
Don't.
Thank a veteran if you see one. Take a moment. It's okay to be proud to be an American.
Amen.
And with that, this has been Straight Shot Politics.